Hello and welcome. I'm putting a video together because Roger Spur put a video up showing his Scorpzilla, and we've been going back and forth on this for quite some time, okay? So this is nothing new between me and him. So he's calling this a carcass of Scorpzilla, and I'm saying it's not. I'm saying it's Pareidolia. Okay? Now, he put up a video of one of my showing one of my videos, and I was explaining something to him. That video that I'm explaining to him, all I'm doing is explaining something to him. It's not showing all of my evidence, so this isn't really fair that he put that video up and you don't get to see all of my evidence, okay? So I'm going to show you all of my evidence of why I say this is not a carcass, this is not a stinger, that is not a gland, you know, back there for the stinger. I'll show you the anatomy on the stinger and how that's not a stinger. That could never articulate. This stinger could never articulate and do what a stinger does, okay? Because a stinger has to articulate in order for this creature to hit its target even, okay? So we're going to get into this right now, and I'll start at the head. Okay. I'm saying the biology is for a bigger carcass that is laying there, okay? That's what I'm saying. Okay? And I'm going to start at the head here to show you. Okay, he says that this is a head. Okay, he called this an eye. Right here. You get in there and he said this here is an eye. Okay, well if this is an eye, then why does the rest of this keep on going out here like this and clear out here? You understand what I'm saying? Why does the rest of this keep going like this if this is the eye? And also, if this is an eye, why is Mount Vernon a volcano the eye? Okay, why? Why? How's a volcano? Because he also claims that up here, Mount Spur, which is over here somewhere, is the anus. So how can a volcano be the anus and an eye? How could they both transition from a volcano to a volcano? Okay? How can that happen? How can you get a transition like that? One's very... Because even Roger has said volcanoes are poop or very noxious stuff, very vile stuff. So how is an eye very vile? Because an eye don't transition that way. So if Atlantis is an eye, and that's what an eye looks like transitioned, okay, that's an eyeball transition, then how is this volcano a transition? You see what I'm saying? So, how can you have Mount Vernon, California, which is a volcano, transition? How can you have an eye transition to a volcano and then have the anus transition to a volcano, Mount Spur, and call that the anus, and they're both volcanoes? Now I understand methane and stuff can blow up in skin and all that, but you can't have a transition of the gastrointestinal system, a volcano, and then have the eye, which is not the gastrointestinal system and not vile, and have it transition to a volcano too. You can't have it both ways, okay? That's not the way it transitions. Those two body parts don't transition the same way. They don't. And if anybody tells you that an eyeball will transition the same as a rectum, they're totally wrong. It won't. The chemicals aren't wrong. Everything's not there to transition the same way. Now that's just on the eye. Now if you come up to here, what he's calling the top of the head, and you come out here to the end of what would be the nose, I want you to notice this material keeps on running right on down past it. Okay? Right on down past it. Not only that, but if this was a head, where's the mouth? Where is anything at? You know, if that eye is sitting right there, you're going to see something for some mouth or something somewhere. Some kind of physiology or anatomy. But you will notice this material at the end of the nose just keeps on going down this way, down towards Baja, down that way. Alright? So, that's my second part. Oh, not only that, but this material out here is the same material as this. Okay? So then it distorts the head all wrong. Make sense? Okay, so if this is a front foot, what is all this down in here? You can't, seriously, you can't make a foot out of none of that. You can't find any physiology. And knowing that, let me show you something else. A membrane. Okay, this is a lipid membrane, bilipid membrane on that carcass. This thing's 6 feet thick. Okay, 6 feet thick. This biology, even my tendon balls, is the wrong side for that carcass. A 6-foot human being, a lipid membrane, is 7.5 to 10 nanometers thick. Okay, for a lipid membrane on a human being 6 feet tall. So do the math. Convert this 6 feet thick, which is millions of nanometers, by the way. Convert it over. And there you go. You'll find it doesn't fit. See this big old tendon ball and that one back in there? These are too big. They don't fit the size of what he's claiming to be a carcass. This biology's too big. Okay, now we're going to get to the tail. For one thing, the tail's way too long, way too big down here. And what about all this other material in here? What about all this? You see what I'm saying? Now, what I'm saying is, this piece is part of this piece, okay? It got broke apart right here because, believe it or not, if you don't believe this, a lot of things have moved around and shifted around, okay? They didn't just stay right where they were. That's why you see a lot of these marks in here are drag marks from things being drug around, like your furniture dragging on the floor, you know? So when you get in here and you take a look at this, you can see that this piece here used to be down in here and it's pulled up here. This piece used to be rolled back around here. See how this is thinner right through here and thicker right through here and thicker right through here? This thin piece right through here is because this piece should be folded back up in there. Okay? And that is not a stinger. That is not a gland for a stinger. Not only that, but a stinger would not be in the middle of this, and I don't care if it's a hybrid or not, because it has to articulate right here, okay? There has to be an articulation point right there where this thing can, if this is a carcass, it has to be able to control that stinger and put it where it wants to put it and be able to stab something and direct it, you understand? And it would be out at the end of the tail. It wouldn't be here. What's it supposed to do with this thing flopping around out here when it's trying to use that? You see what I'm saying? The mechanics wouldn't even work right, man. Now let me show you a stinger. Okay, if you take a look at the structure for a stinger and how the gland works and the hairs, and at the end here, you know, it's got when it injects it and it can put the venom in, and it's got like a needle on the end, and that has none of the characteristics for a stinger. Plus, this piece right in here, where this stinger connects, it's got to be able to articulate and move around. Okay, and you'll find none of the mechanics, none of the physiology for a stinger in what he's calling a carcass. At the end of the stinger, you will find the opening with the orifice where the venom pore. That's called the venom pore. That's where the venom is injected. There is no injection thing on what he's calling. It has none of what's supposed to be there. Okay. Let me show you something else. There's also hairs that grow on that venom gland, and there's no hairs on his venom gland, or are there any even pores for venom for the hairs on what he's calling a gland. Now here's a gland with the stinger and everything, and see the ridges on this, how a gland is for structure, like that. He has none of these ridge lines or none of that stuff in that. Okay, that's not a stinger. And where the stinger connects, like right here and right here, it's got to be able to articulate. Okay, you got to be able to articulate and be able to move, and it doesn't have that either. So you come in here, you look yourself, you will find that is not a stinger. Okay, there's no orifice for the venom to come out. This is not a gland. There's no hair follicles on it. None of that. There's nothing here for a stinger. That piece that's supposed to articulate right in here so it can move it around, it's not there. There is nothing here for physiology, anatomy, or biology for a stinger. Okay, that's not a tail. I'm just telling you. What has happened is this is supposed to be closer to here, and this moved out away from this piece here, and when it moved out away, it pulled this piece with it, and it pulled that piece with it, and that's what happened. Okay, because let me show you, things moved around. Things have not been set in where they just. Okay. You see these marks right here? those are drag marks, okay? Now, these here, that's expansion marks from here to here with drag marks through it, like dragging furniture, okay? Because these continents moved around. And these deep grooves are drag marks dragging through the expansion marks, okay? You understand? Everything that moves leaves a signature. I hunted for elk for 18 years. 18 years bow hunting and learned how to track. Everything that moves leaves a signature. These are tracks, okay? If I was elk hunting, these are tracks of things moving from one side to the other. And I would follow those tracks. Do you understand? It's all over on Earth, man. Things moving around, okay? You come down in here in Madagascar. Madagascar used to be sitting right up in here and it shifted down, okay? You can come in here and see the drag marks. It's not complicated. Anybody that knows anything about forensics will know that these are drag marks, okay? This used to be sitting up in here and it shifted down to there. That's what's going on. So that's why I say what I say over here. Where did we go? Where things got moved around right here, okay? And they didn't stay right where they're supposed to be. This should be actually moved back down this way, okay? And then you got some creature laying here, man. That's why I'm saying this is part of a much bigger carcass. Okay? This is much bigger carcass, whatever's going on here with this. And that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying it's Pareidolia. It's Pareidolia, however you pronounce it. And it's not a carcass. I'm saying this is a much bigger carcass. Okay? What I'm saying this thing is it's ripped open right here where it'd be Baja. Because this whole piece used to be sitting over here and it slid over here. That's why these big 4 major drag marks are right here. Because it slid over here. That's what those are. Those 4 big marks are drag marks. Like where you drag furniture. You understand? That's what those are. So what I'm saying this carcass is like the one in China. Hold on. I'm saying it's a carcass similar to this one, maybe the female, but it's so decayed and eroded and so much has gone off the top we can't really tell what it is. Let me show you. So you got the right eye, the left eye is over here, the brow, the nose and all that stuff. That's a dragon head. And I'm saying this is too. It's so eroded and so much gone and decayed that we're having a hard time. I'm saying this is the right eye. This over here was the left eye. This is the middle of the forehead, and this is its nose running down here. This whole thing is a carcass. This whole piece. Okay? And it runs back this way with whatever we're sitting on top of. If you come into here, you see these big chunks? You see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's these chunks right here. These are what I believe is around the back of its neck, like guarding almost. And if you come in here and take a look at this stuff, you'll see this is skin. This is its skin. I'm not kidding you. This is its skin. This carcass is absolutely huge. It's a little bit smaller than the one in China. I believe it's the female to the one in China. Okay? That's what I believe this is. So if his eye can be a volcano, so can mine. Mine can be a super caldera. Okay? That's all I'm saying. So that's my evidence. I'm saying it's a massive, massive, massive carcass. And I'm saying that's the right eye. Left eye. And this is not a tail. This is not... That's absolutely not a stinger. And one does not work that way. Period. End of story. Ask anybody. And I don't care if you call it a hybrid or not. It's not going to have that extension going past it just laying there flopping around. You got to be able to control that thing. And be able to do what you would do to defend yourself. And you can't do it. There's no gland there. There's no... That's not a neat... the tip of it. It's just a coincidence. So I say it's Pareidolia. There, that's my evidence. And I say that in love.